Hey everyone, are we ready to jump back into another Create Live? Let's go ahead. So today we're taking several card design ideas and turning it into its own. So here's two ideas. We're actually going to be using this one, this design idea. We're going to turn it this way and it's going to open like this. So here's another one where the accent piece is actually attached to the message that is on the inside or the greeting. So just two ideas to kind of keep in the back of your mind as we go through this. So I'm going to set those off to the side. Today we are going to be using some of the items out of the mixed media floral pack. Now keep in mind there are two separate card set sizes. So both of those mix and match really, really well. I will tell you, because this is my business, I am a keeper of scraps because I guarantee you, even the smallest pieces, we will use these again. Mark my word, in another Create Live. So there you have it on that. Here's the other sides of some of those pieces. See, I couldn't get rid of the ladybug. I will figure out how to make those work in another video. And then this is the other side of this gorgeous floral paper. So here we have it. One of my trusty four-legged office assistants sounds like he thinks he should come help us, so he might join us. Also, to keep me on track in the video, I just went ahead and cut out the pieces that we will be using that are part of this sticker pack that are also in the mixed media florals. So lots of options that we still have. I wanted to make sure that I didn't waste these other pieces, so they're all still here. So we're going to set those off to the side, and then I pulled some string thread, is what we call it, from another set from actually last spring that is expired now. But we're going to use this because it matches so well. This is one of the things that I love. If I'm looking for a certain tone of pink within Stampin' Up, I don't have to worry about it not matching. Look at this. Is that crazy? This string coordinates with every single one of these colors. It's still considered an in color with our Stampin' Up colors. And so it literally matches just this floral busy background. It matches also this floral busy background. And it matches this coordinating background also. So we're just going to create a cute, simple little bow out of this later. But let's get started. In case you're a measurement person and want to know exactly how things are going to be cut and exactly how things are going to be scored, reach out to me and I will get you those dimensions. And we're going to go ahead and get jumping into this. So I'm going to move some of my pieces out of the way. To get started, we're going to go ahead and use this piece out of the mixed media florals. I did size this down a little bit. I honestly just eyeballed it. If you have specific questions about the sizing of where I cut it on the top and the bottom, feel free to let me know. We're going to just go ahead and use our adhesive. See, it's another fun design on the other side, which is so hard for me to make a decision. As you might be able to see, our assistant buddy is in the frame. So we're going to go ahead and just start. Any type of liquid glue that you use in paper crafting will work quite well. Just giving it a couple dots. I don't want dots to show through on the other side, which does happen. So you can always use your adhesive tape also, or the adhesive sheets, which are a wonderful product. Please don't get any more in the frame, buddy. For this project also. And I love these cards. I recently learned about them, but I just feel like they make a great, very expressive, gorgeous looking, complicated like card that are really quite easy to put together. Buddy, you're in the frame, sir. Okay, so we've got that started, and not to complicate things, to close the card like this, everything else is going to be going on the front. The other thing that I love is you can still, on this background, on the inside of the card with our greeting that says thank you, you can still on the top add a message of whatever you want it to be, or throughout this entire area, which I think would be so much fun. So that is all that's going on in the inside, unless you're leaving a message and hopefully your name. And then the rest of it is on the front here. So simply, we are going to start with our little accent trim piece that's going to go on the far right hand side of my card. And we're just going to add, again, a little bit of glue on this. Giving it some pressure just to get it held down the right way. Because it is black cardstock, I'm always very careful on how much glue, that way the residue doesn't show on the side. You can always use a glue eraser to pull up any of that residue just in case you get any, but just so you know. Next up, I'm going to, especially since I have my trusty assistant that's not going to leave us today, I'm going to flip our card like that. That way we can add our accent pieces to the front, these light pink and white trim pieces. I'm looking at them to make sure that they line up, and they do. There is a little bit of an overlap. So what I'm curious about, because I want to have a little bit of a border on there, you could either leave it like this, where it actually, there's a little bit of overlay, and I really like that actually. I think I'm going to leave it like that. I was originally going to suggest that you could cut off a little more. Again, this is your card, and this is one of the things that I love to be able to share. Is the biggest thing for me when I went from being a digital marketing designer to being able to just enjoy creating each and every day is not making there be, not having an end goal in mind. That is so much harder said than done. Let me tell you, that is so much harder to do than actually to say. Anyways, and I love the way that it looks. I love how pieces layer and add in the texture and all of that. Worst come to worst, if I would decide I don't like that after we lay that down later, I could go in, flip this over, and cut off that excess piece. I don't believe that's going to be the case. So we're going to go ahead and just add some glue here. And then the edge that sticks off, you just want to make sure that there isn't much glue there. That way you don't have to worry about wiping that off before we finish. So, and then another thing, I love our glass mat where you can just kind of lay things down and get your angles and coordinates all lined up with each other. So I'm just going to give it some pressure. And get our pink and white floral background lined up. There is just a little excess glue, so I am going to pull that off really quick. That way we don't have to worry about that. Hopefully you can see I'm just adding more glue to our second piece that I will line up on our card. And I'm going to overlap this one a little bit in the middle because I don't want to have any hang off on the bottom of this card to keep that same layering. So we've got that piece on. And it looks good on the other side. Hopefully you can see that with the assistant on the desk. Anyone else create with animals around that has this, not problem, but irritation sometimes? Okay, so you can't eat the string. You, nope, go down. Thank you. Thank you for your assistance, buddy. Much appreciated. So far, this is our card. So it's blank on the outside right now. We are going to change that here very shortly. And then it opens up and it says thank you. So each of those pieces so nicely coordinate. It is a little busy. I feel like we're going to tone it down a little bit. So hang tight with me if this is so crazy. So we're going to use the heartfelt thanks with the floral piece. These are all stickers. And then this greenery piece that we're going to use kind of like a ribbon going the opposite direction. So let me show you how we're going to lay that out. We also will use our twine like string, our thread, sorry. It's like a thin yarn, but it's a thick yarn and like a thinner thread. I call it a thread or a yarn, not to be confused, but we call them thread within Stampin' Up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, and it's all going to go on this pink piece that's right here. So I'm going to grab our first one. And just kind of figuring out on my paper where I want it to go, laying it down. Now the border piece is really pretty. This may be a little cringy, but I'm going to hold on to it actually because I will probably cut it out in between and do what we call fussy cutting. And then I will layer in some colors within this, kind of like a stencil. So stay tuned for the future and don't let me forget if we don't do that in a while. Let's make sure we utilize that. So then I'm just laying down our second piece of greenery, making sure it's all attached. I don't always attach all my pieces totally, but because it is a sticker, I don't want it to attach to anything else that we're playing with. So the next thing that I'm going to lay down is our florals. I'm going to stick this down. Again, we want it to stick all the way because it is a sticker. And then I'm going to add in our thread and tie it up like a bow. And then we'll put on our sentiment on the front. This I am throwing away because it's all cut out, in case you were concerned. So again, just lining up on my glass mat board with the precision lines to make sure I'm laying this down the way I want to, just giving it some good pressure to make sure it's stuck. The other thing is if you love to color with markers or any other objects that you color with, this tulip pattern sticker that we just laid down, easily you could add in some more color if you love to use extra color. This pink and white background, you could also do the same thing. Whether you lay it down or after, that's up to you. And our Stampin' Write markers make a great companion piece, especially with this mixed media floral set. So just keep that in mind. And then we're going to tie our bow. So I've measured this off to cut it. I measured it and then I cut it in a double instead of in a single. That way we can just add some fun. So I'm going to just, hopefully this works out the way we want it to. So I'm going to just tie a bow. Hold on. Making sure it's even. And then grabbing one piece, just like I'm tying my shoe. And there we go. I just want to make sure it's not. I feel like I always end up with a bow that's floppier on one side. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go ahead Actually, was I wanting to make this like this? No, I wasn't. Okay. So our string is in half. I'm going to actually cut it unlike I planned to do. And then I'm just going to tie this like I tie my shoes with my fingers to make sure we get a good bow. I always end up with one side that's bigger than the other, but something like that is what I was going for. And then we're going to just kind of lay this down over here. And then our greeting is going to go somewhere like that. Now, things are going to get a little bumpy possibly. The other thing that we could do is use some foam adhesive behind this to just kind of elevate the sentiment that's on the front of our card. So what I'm going to do first is give the back of this ribbon or this thread a little bit of glue to hold it down on that bow, giving it some pressure. The other thing that I've heard to use is some adhesive tape to also get that to hold down. So just adding in some extra glue to get that to set. Okay, we're gonna come in with our greeting and trying to figure out how I want to lay this down. That's what we're gonna do. We are going to put it over one piece of the ribbon string, which also just gives it a little more pressure to hold everything down. And there you have it. This is our card. Again, we use the mixed media card set. I also use some thread from a previous suite. And then we just use some simple black cardstock to just really elevate the whole look of this card. I really hope you enjoyed this. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts and how maybe you would do this differently. I am, while I let this dry, going to just let it sit here. If you go and make this right after you see this, I would advise using, you can use a glue dot, you can use adhesive, tear and tape, or any other type of adhesive just to get this to hold down even better, because mine's going to have to sit here for a little bit as it sets. So I hope you enjoyed this. Looking forward to seeing you next time when we do a Create Live. Have a good one.